Item Number SCP-1263 Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-1263-1 through 5 are to be contained in separate humanoid containment cells modified to accommodate pregnancies. New instances of SCP-1263-A are to be analyzed and evaluated shortly after spawning and shall either be terminated or kept for further study at the discretion of Dr. Hung. There are currently 23 specimens of SCP-1263-A being held at Site-107 for testing. Specimens spawned from the same SCP-1263 subject must not be brought within 1.4 meters of each other for any purpose other than approved testing. Description: SCP-1263 consists of 5 Caucasian female siblings, designated SCP-1263-1 through 5. SCP-1263-1 through 5 are in a comatose state and have been for some time prior to containment. Every 4 months, 5 instances of SCP-1263-A will manifest within the wombs of SCP-1263 simultaneously. The gestation period for SCP-1263-A lasts for 3 months, with a 1-month pause before the cycle begins again. Instances of SCP-1263-A appear to be disembodied human heads of variable race and gender. SCP-1263-A instances lack connections for associated bodily systems, instead possessing a layer of skin where said connections would normally be located. Despite this, SCP-1263-A instances are alive, and seem to carry out bodily functions a normal human head would. SCP-1263-A instances lack any kind of structure for transferring blood from and to the placenta of SCP-1263. Tests have shown near-constant brain activity in SCP-1263-A specimens. DNA tests on SCP-1263-A have been inconclusive. SCP-1263-A constantly emit rapid distress vocalizations. Footnote 1. Vocalizations from SCP-1263-A instances are audible from the womb 1 week before spawning. These vocalizations are largely unintelligible. When at least 5 instances of SCP-1263-A spawn from the same member of SCP-1263 are brought into a minimum proximity of 1.4 meters near each other, the vocalizations will begin to synchronize, and will eventually become fully coherent. SCP-1263-A will not engage in this behavior with instances spawned from different members of SCP-1263. The nature and language of the synchronized vocalizations vary depending on the SCP-1263-A's corresponding SCP-1263 member. SCP-1263 AA, spawned from SCP-1263-1, recite audio being transmitted on the nearest 99.3 MHz frequency in real time in Portuguese. SCP-1263-AB, spawned by SCP-1263-2, sing opera created during the Baroque period, altered to be performed in Urdu. SCP-1263-AC, spawned by SCP-1263-3, vocalize the thought streams of an unidentified individual in Laotian. Footnote 2. Subject matters of the thoughts indicate that they are those of a resident of Wisconsin named Ron Ackerson. SCP-1263-AD, spawned by SCP-1263-4, tell what are believed to be meteorological forecasts from an unidentified extrasolar planet in Swahili. SCP-1263-A3, spawned by SCP-1263-5, act as a two-way communication device for an intelligent entity, designated SCP-1263 Sigma, and speak in English. Footnote 3. Notably, other SCP-1263-A instances have displayed extreme anxiety within the presence of SCP-1263-AE. SCP-1263 Sigma has been largely uncooperative in the Foundation's attempt to extract information from it. Addendum 1263-01. Forward. First recorded instance of communication with SCP-1263 Sigma. At the time, the research staff were performing initial analysis and testing on SCP-1263-AE to determine the nature of their vocalizations. 3 minutes after the chosen SCP-1263-AE instance began to synchronize, SCP-1263 Sigma attempted communication. Begin log. Unintelligible voices can be heard in the background. This is Dr. Vargas performing Experiment 1263-039-B to determine the nature of SCP-1263-AE's vocalizations. Researchers Janet and White are assisting. The test subjects have been grouped within approximate proximity of each other. We are presently awaiting vocal synchronization. Over the next 3 minutes, the voices produced by SCP-1263-AE steadily synchronize and evolve into coherent speech. Hello, is this thing on? There is silence for 5 seconds before Dr. Vargas responds. Yes, we can hear you. Excellent. Last few times I tried to get a signal didn't turn out so well. Please state your name. Jimmy, but that's not important right now. I'm finally able to share my writing. Would you like to hear some poetry? That won't be necessary. Now how did you come to acquire this method of communication? Oh, come on now, I'm sure you'll love it. The SCP-1263-AE instances can be heard clearing their throats. Love, what is life without it? Why should we question about it? It is but the wind in the trees, the funny feeling in my knees, floating like a bumblebee, so free. Silence for 3 seconds. Now wasn't that lovely? Here's another. Mother Nature, her sweet caress. It's all I need when life gives the rest. Sounds so sweet. To researchers Janet and White, take the heads away, we'll try this another time. Yeesh, tough crowd. You'll come to like it if you take the time to think about unintelligible. End log. Item number SCP-1946. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-1946 contained at Site-116 in its AVB Anomalous Vehicle Bay on Lot number 1542 A. No personnel are to enter SCP-1946 unless testing procedures are underway, and only D-Class personnel are to be allowed access to SCP-1946 during these procedures. As repeated attempts have shown, SCP-1946's main anomalous effect manifests too rapidly for affected subjects to be retrieved, and leaves subjects in a state of physiological stasis. Therefore, any personnel used in testing of SCP-1946 is to be considered permanently attached to this project. As the available space inside SCP-1946 is both non-anomalous and finite, requests for testing are to be screened for feasibility. Exploration of SCP-1946, if needed, is to be performed using robotic reconnaissance equipment. Description: SCP-1946 is a 1986 Airstream Acela 2 trailer, converted into a small mobile diner. It is fully furnished, with a 3 m by 1.5 m kitchen area situated in the back, containing, amongst others, a dishwasher, a deep fryer, a grill, and a stove. In addition, this area also contains SCP-1946-1, SCP-1946-3, and SCP-1946-5. Towards the front of SCP-1946 is a 10-person seating area in traditional American diner style, with red-letter upholstered bar stools positioned next to a high wall-mounted table running along the left side of SCP-1946. This also contains SCP-1946-2, SCP-1946-4, SCP-1946-6, SCP-1946-7, and SCP-1946-10. Also in the front of SCP-1946 is the trailer's toilet. It contains both a chemical toilet and SCP-1946-11. The kitchen and seating area are separated by a small counter on which a cash register and SCP-1946-9 sit. SCP-1946-1 through -11 are subjects previously exposed to SCP-1946's anomalous effect. All but SCP-1946-8 remain inside SCP-1946. SCP-1946-8 is deceased and was examined to determine potential alterations to subject's physiology. None were found, though SCP-1946-8's remains have not been noted to undergo decomposition since the subject expired. SCP-1946's anomalous effect manifests itself when a human being is introduced to its interior. Within approximately 3 minutes of exposure to SCP-1946, subjects will begin to lose any previously established identity and personality, and begin imitating elements of SCP-1946's interior. This process rapidly completes, with the longest cycle from start to finish taking approximately 2 minutes. Subjects first become agitated and confused, before gradually losing all ability to form coherent speech. However, an affected subject does not lose the basic ability to produce sounds. Multiple subjects have been recorded vocalizing in an attempt to more closely imitate an element of SCP-1946. Please refer to Addendum 1946-A-01 for examples. Attempts to communicate verbally with subjects after completion of the anomalous process have yielded no results. However, reactions can be provoked from subjects imitating elements with digital or analog controls using remote manipulation equipment. Subjects affected by SCP-1946 appear to enter a state of physiological stasis, do not appear to need sustenance, and have not been shown to undergo normal physiological processes. Note that as subjects experience SCP-1946's effect, imitated elements inside SCP-1946 do not disappear. Subjects affected by SCP-1946 simply assume a stationary position near the source element, attempting to move as close as possible to it. Subjects will become mobile if they perceive an opportunity to more accurately mimic their source. Currently, no known remedy exists for SCP-1946's effect. Subjects prematurely retrieved from SCP-1946 continue the transformational process, and were reintroduced to SCP-1946 for ease of containment. Addendum 1946-A-01 SCP-1946-1 Deep Fryer. Removed and ingested all oil from SCP-1946's original deep fryer. Frequently attempts to insert the original wire basket into its mouth. SCP-1946-2 Barstool. Remains on its haunches and attempts to turn its head as far as physically possible at irregular intervals. SCP-1946-3 Dishwasher. Produces rumbling sounds that appear to swirl large amounts of saliva around its mouth. Has attempted to eat utensils and crockery. SCP-1946-4 Neon Sign. Currently standing upright against the short wall nearest to the first door, has attempted to contort its body to spell out words, and to plug into SCP-1946's nearest wall socket. SCP-1946-5 Grill Plate. Frequently spits saliva into the air, has attempted to interface with SCP-1946's supply of gas canisters. SCP-1946-6 Wall-mounted clock. Produced ticking sounds until no vocalizations recorded afterwards. SCP-1946-7 Picture Frame. Has attached photo originally contained an actual picture frame to its face using a cocktail skewer and attempted to attach itself to SCP-1946's right wall. SCP-1946-8 Barstool. See SCP-1946-2 Mirrored behavior was noted for it succeeded in turning its neck beyond fracturing point. SCP-1946-9 Cash Register. Ingested all cash from SCP-1946's original register. Has infrequently reproduced both coins and remains of bills. SCP-1946-10 Blackboard. Naked. Has used markers found in SCP-1946 to write out a menu on its body. Menu contains nonsensical items such as tongue rock custard, colon needle soup, and frequent Boeing foot noodles. Currently standing up on SCP-1946's wall-mounted table. SCP-1946-11 Chemical Toilet. And frequently imitates flushing sounds. Item Number SCP-1819 Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Procedures should be adapted to the age and condition of each instance of SCP-1819-X. The surface of the skin must be thoroughly and constantly exposed to 500 lux of visible light. This can be reduced to 100 lux during sleep periods. Typical containment units are designed like tanning booths or beds, but equipped with lamps producing visible light. The following precautions must be implemented until the contagious nature of SCP-1819 is fully understood. Instances of SCP-1819-X must be contained and studied under Level 3 biosafety conditions. Access to documents produced by instances of SCP-1819-X, such as writings, drawings, and audio-visual recordings, require Clearance Level 4 or approval from Dr. Rapoli. Personnel assigned to instances of SCP-1819-X cannot be reassigned to other projects involving children and should avoid interactions with children from the general population. Description: SCP-1819 refers to a medical condition that develops in human children between 4 and 13 years of age. Affected individuals are characterized by abnormal cutaneous sensitivity to the absence of visible light. Sporadic cases appear in individuals designated SCP-1819-X, where X is a number. Initial symptoms typically manifest during periods of more than 4 hours spent in darkness, hereby defined as less than 0.1 lux, but this threshold varies between cases. Symptoms include pain, itching, edema, blistering, and peeling of skin, and are usually diagnosed as sunburn. The severity of these symptoms increases gradually with longer or repeated periods spent in darkness. Instances of SCP-1819-X also have an extremely high incidence of cutaneous neoplasias and usually die of malignant melanoma before puberty. Genome sequencing revealed a novel type of retroviral elements present only in affected skin tissues. These sequences contain a single functional gene that encodes an enzyme, referred to as SCP-1819-E. This enzyme was shown to catalyze the formation of pyrimidine dimers, a genotoxic modification of DNA normally induced by ultraviolet radiations. Visible light inhibits the activity of SCP-1819-E by an unknown mechanism. The retroviral sequences do not encode other functional proteins, and the subjects do not produce detectable viral particles. Instances of SCP-1819-X manifest a strong fear of the dark, nyctophobia, for years before the onset of SCP-1819. They are also convinced of the existence of a boogeyman, which they invariably describe as a black figure with a single bright or burning eye. It is unclear at present whether this persona is a real entity or a mental component of the disease. Instances of SCP-1819-X are contagious to other children. The biological basis for this contagion is unknown, but it requires SCP-1819-X to discuss their nyctophobia with the subject. Physical proximity and direct communication are usually necessary, but contagion was also observed to occur by written documents and drawings. Current data suggests that SCP-1819 has a mimetic component, but it is not yet possible to exclude the existence of an undetected airborne vector. SCP-1819 is not contagious to adults. However, instances of SCP-1819-X who survive past puberty remain completely affected and are still contagious to children. Addendum 1819-A1. Excerpt from interviews of SCP-1819-X instances. SCP-1819-3. Mr. Spiky was always mean, telling me about the monsters in the dark until I cry. My mom said there's nothing dangerous in the dark, and I don't have to be afraid. It's funny, Mrs. Jackson said sunlight can give you cancer, and you have to be careful. How come grown-ups are scared of the sun but not the dark? Mr. Spiky found this very interesting. SCP-1819-8. Dad always says I should grow up and stop being afraid of the dark. I tried to explain about Mr. Spooky, but he doesn't believe me. Mr. Spooky is feeling lonely because people don't play with him as much as they used to, but he told me I was a good boy and now he had a gift for me, so I wouldn't forget him ever. He said to share with my friends so we could all play together. SCP-1819-21. It was burning, the dark was burning, I was crying and Mommy was screaming, and I could hear Mr. Inky laughing. They keep me in the light now, but what happens when you die? Mr. Inky said it's all black, forever. Item number SCP-1498. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. All instances of SCP-1498 are to be held in standard containment chambers, located within Site-77. One technician is to be on hand to answer any calls placed to SCP-1498. Transcripts of all calls must be placed in Site-77's Non-Anomalous Records Archive. Any persons found to have interacted with SCP-1498 are to be quarantined for 2 months, or until they show signs of SCP-1498. Subjects showing signs of exposure are to be contained as an instance of SCP-1498-1, which require the same accommodation as instances of SCP-1498. Description: SCP-1498 is a collection of 30 autonomous bundles of phone cords and handsets, assembled in such a way that they resemble sheep. Instances of SCP-1498 are fully ambulatory and will wander their containment chambers aimlessly. The words, "Make your own custom dreamscapes with your friends of the Onoroi Collective" are printed on each instance. Footnote 1. Believed to be connected to SCP-2028 and SCP-2805. If a sapient organism attempts to use one of the phone handsets present on SCP-1498, they will hear 3 rings, followed by a voice identifying themselves as the operator for the Onoroi Collective. This voice will instruct the subject on various options they have for dreaming, and make suggestions for enhanced dreaming experiences. Following the completion of this call, the subject will lose consciousness for 9 hours. When the subject regains consciousness, they will claim to have experienced the dream they ordered, to any exact specifications they may have had. Subjects may express a desire to continue using SCP-1498's effect, or attempt to reuse it immediately. A transcript of a subject describing their experience while under SCP-1498's effect have been included in this report. D-4560, after being exposed to SCP-1498. I was sitting in this room, except it wasn't really a room, because the edges were sloped, so it was like an egg room, with green paper, but it wasn't that green, just a little green here and there. Anyways, I'm right in the middle, sitting on the ground, except of course the fact that I was being supported. It's then I realized I'm actually a table, like you guys told me to tell the weird sheep phone thing. There's people eating off of me too, like old, maybe from the 1950s, with red faces. That was when we finally hatched, and I woke up. As subjects are repeatedly exposed to SCP-1498, they may begin to experience changes to their bodily and mental state. Subjects affected by SCP-1498 will express a desire to sleep as frequently as possible, preferring the use of SCP-1498 if they are able to. While asleep, portions of the subject's cranium and skull will be replaced, with portions of telephones similar to those found in SCP-1498. This has manifested in a variety of ways, including subjects coughing up telephones with cords extending into their esophagus, telephone wires beginning to grow in place of hair, ringing devices found in rotary telephones found within the subject's ears, which may begin ringing continuously, vocalizations being replaced with dial tones. Eventually, a rotary phone will assemble itself on the subject's head out of all the components that have been grown within and on their bodies. Subjects will display the same intelligence as instances of SCP-1498 and are to be classified as instances of SCP-1498-1. As of August 19, 2012, no attempt to restore the intelligence of an SCP-1498-1 instance has succeeded. SCP-1498 was discovered on September 18, 1965, from an abandoned office complex in Miami, Florida, United States, after reports of bizarre livestock reached local Foundation assets. When Foundation assets entered the building, they discovered the SCP-1498 instances, 1 bedroll, approximately half a ton of rotary telephone components, and 2 pints of Type AB blood in a glass jar. In addition, 1 pajama onesie, well worn, was discovered folded at the bedroll. Testing has shown several months' worth of sweat and body oil soaked into the fabric. As of November 14, 1965, SCP-1498 has been classified as Euclid. Item number SCP-747. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. All instances of SCP-747 are to be contained in a room exactly 30 meters by 10 meters, with walls consisting of concrete 15 cm thick. All instances of SCP-747 are to be contained together in the same room. In the occurrence SCP-747 shows interest in any personnel, procedure SCP-747-B9 must be performed immediately. Under no circumstances shall any unusual actions of SCP-747 go unreported to Personnel Level 3 or higher. SCP-747 is allowed a total of 25 dolls, excluding any created under SCP-747's influence. Any personnel that begin to show visible signs of SCP-747's influence are to be contained separately in similar conditions. Should a containment breach occur, Task Force 747-B8 is to be alerted and proceed with recapture immediately. Only under extreme circumstances are any personnel with clearance level 3 or higher to have any direct contact with SCP-747. Description: SCP-747 is a phenomenon involving the appearance of children in any manner of animal masks. All instances of SCP-747 have been successfully identified as deceased children of appearance congruent with the time of death, excluding the masks. The commonality of the children, according to research, is that they all owned a doll precious to them at their time of death. Currently in containment there are 6 instances of SCP-747. SCP-747-01 is a male, approximately 7 years of age, wearing a zebra mask and a set of blue pajamas. SCP-747-02 is a male, approximately 12 years of age, wearing a mouse mask and swimming trunks. SCP-747-03 is a female, approximately 10 years of age, wearing a pig mask and an outfit typical of private schooling. SCP-747-04 is a male, approximately 14 years of age, wearing a rabbit mask and a winter coat. SCP-747-05 is a female, approximately 12 years of age, wearing a giraffe mask and a striped sari. SCP-747-06 is a female, approximately 5 years of age, wearing a goat mask and a bright pink dress typical of a beauty pageant. SCP-747-07 is a male, approximately 9 years of age, wearing a cat mask and blue overalls. SCP-747-07 was also recovered with a note, which has since been separately stored. Footnote 1. Blue crayon written in neat cursive contains a short story involving a mother looking for her son in an unspecified afterlife. It is notable that the mother of the entity holding the note had died in childbirth. Investigations to its source are ongoing. Each instance of SCP-747 cannot speak, nor do they seem to be aware of humans unless taking particular interest in specific individuals. Mainly, SCP-747 shows interest in handmade dolls and each other. It is unknown if SCP-747 has sentience, though they appear to be aware of their surroundings and will avoid walking into obstacles. SCP-747 is able to move through obstacles no thicker than 10 cm with ease. SCP-747 is also semi-corporeal. Instances are able to lift and touch objects, but only for short periods of time before they tire. SCP-747 has the ability to transform humans into dolls over the course of approximately 21 days. To do this, instances of SCP-747 surround a human and hold hands before walking around the human for a period of 5 to 7 seconds. Afterwards, SCP-747 disperses and continues normal behavior. It is unknown which humans they choose to transform or why. SCP-747 occasionally shows interest in a person before attempting to transform them. The person is able to interrupt the process by moving away or avoiding SCP-747. However, most people describe a feeling of thoughtlessness or blankness when in contact with SCP-747, thereby making the interruption difficult. After interaction with SCP-747, there are no immediate symptoms. There is currently no cure or treatment for the conversion process. Within 15 minutes, the target will experience numbness of the tips of extremities, similar to that caused by cold. Afterwards, over a period of approximately 21 days, the symptoms will progressively worsen. The process will accelerate under stress or panic to a minimum of 10 days. The conversion has been divided roughly into 3 stages, beginning from initial influence of the transformation into a doll. If at any point a doll made from SCP-747's influence is destroyed, SCP-747 will begin to show a greater interest in humans until another human is targeted for replacement. Stages of transformation in detail. Stage 1. Loss of minor senses. The targeted human loses the senses of smell, hearing, and taste over a period of approximately 7 days. Their mental state appears stable. Subject may display worry about condition. Any signs of mental instability at this stage are signs of an accelerated transformation. SCP-747 will ignore the person as if they were normal. The target's skin color and eye color will progressively change in appearance to that of what they will become as a doll. Any personnel that show symptoms must be contained according to the containment procedures listed until Late Stage 2, in which the personnel are to be moved to SCP-747's containment chamber. Stage 2. Loss of major senses. Subject begins to lose the final two senses over a period of approximately 13 days. Their mental state will begin to destabilize due to the loss of the major senses, first touch and then sight. This degeneration of senses is gradual, and victims have been found initiating in self-harm in attempts to feel something. SCP-747 will begin showing interest in the person, from noticing their entrance into their containment to actively attempting to follow and interact with the subject. Should subject attempt suicide or die in this stage, SCP-747 will immediately seek a replacement with any human. Once the targeted human loses all their senses, SCP-747 will immediately show great interest with the body. The skin will become ragged, similar to textile in both texture and appearance, and the subject's eyes will begin to harden into buttons. Dissections have revealed that during this process the victim's organs will begin to convert into stuffing of various materials, including but not limited to cotton and polyester. Through the use of EEG, it has been noted the target is still conscious throughout this process. Stage 3. Full transformation. Subject transforms fully into a doll within 24 hours. At this point, SCP-747 will treat them as any other doll. It is currently theorized that the subject is no longer conscious or alive in any sense. See Document 747-B4. Dolls produced through SCP-747's influence are to be kept in SCP-747's containment room and removed only for examination or repair. Item Number SCP-1046 Object Class Euclid Special Containment Procedures. The building currently integrated with SCP-1046 is to be contained in a standard domicile containment unit. All surfaces contacting the building are to be constructed out of wooden materials. In the event of a containment breach, all portions of SCP-1046 found outside the containment are to be surgically removed and transplanted into the original building or a suitable replacement building. Description: SCP-1046 is a collection of 781 separate human body parts, formerly a man named. The portions of SCP-1046's body are alive and fully functional, despite not receiving any sustenance or containing any blood. SCP-1046 is located within the former home of. Portions of SCP-1046 are located throughout the home, with some portions of the body replacing utilities within the home, such as portions of the skin replacing 3 curtains and a lampshade, and some inhibiting function of objects within the home, such as a sink being clogged by an artery, and a large portion of the face being permanently affixed to the living room television. At random intervals, portions of SCP-1046 will shift throughout any non-biological surface into which they are currently integrated. This shift can take anywhere from 45 minutes to several weeks. Additionally, the portion of the face integrated into the television and any portion of SCP-1046 capable of producing sound will begin to make distraught vocalizations. Faucets located within SCP-1046 will begin to produce small amounts of saline during this time, despite the building not being connected to any water source. SCP-1046 was discovered on September 18, 1994, after Foundation assets in the Davie Sheriff's Department followed up on reports of a house with people parts. Investigation into the alleged house revealed SCP-1046's anomalous properties. Subsequent surgical intervention allowed agents to achieve successful containment. SCP-1046 was contained on November 19, 1994, and classified as Euclid. Addendum: Documents recovered from the residence SCP-1046 was located in have proven to be relevant to SCP-1046's current condition. Further investigation into the Malva Real Estate Corporation are ongoing. The letters were found in a bureau drawer, and appear to be copies of letters that were sent to an unknown party. Dear Mr. Bear, recently I moved into one of your company's marvelous new homes, and found it to be quite luxurious. The ads were right. You really do feel like part of the home. However, I am writing you this letter due to the fact that my new house no longer contains the bedroom. Would it be possible to get a contractor out here to remedy the situation? Sincerely, Dear Mr. Bear, I don't believe you received my last correspondence, and as such I am writing to you again. Since you did not send a contractor as I requested, I have decided to hire one of my own. Unfortunately, several injuries sustained on my property compelled them to leave without finishing. I once again compel you to remedy the error. Sincerely, Dear Mr. Bear, this is the third time I have contacted you, and I do not believe your ignorance of my issue is accidental. I demand that you send a contractor to finish my home at once. It is unacceptable for a gentleman of my stature to be reduced to sleeping in the living room. If my home is not supplied with a master bedroom within the next 3 weeks, I will be forced to summon my lawyer. To those who it may concern, I am alone and trapped and dark. I am all over. I feel the creaks of the beams. I taste the staleness of the wall. I am dry. I need my bedroom. Several days into the dawning of the sincere letter, sent to an insincere man, he said I would be my house. I am a man, don't take me anymore, please. I can't get sleep. The remainder of the note is unintelligible. Item number SCP-1456 Object Class Euclid Special Containment Procedures. Media and advertisements in the city of Colorado are under observation by Foundation personnel for the first stage of SCP-1456. A Foundation outpost, disguised as a call center, has been established in the town and is operated by Task Force Omega-16, the Contestants. The Center maintains 160 unique phone numbers, all publicly listed to Agent. Upon identification of instances of SCP-1456-1, the numbers presented is immediately called in sequence in order to intercept prize instances. Agent listed residents and a block radius is to be monitored during active phases. A localized media campaign designed to discourage the population from entering the contest presented by SCP-1456-1 has been running for 16 years. Description: SCP-1456 is a series of anomalous phone-in contests advertised in print, radio, local television, and billboards. The advertisements vary considerably in content, claiming to represent organizations both fictional and real, presenting a contest or contests promising financial or physical prizes to winning callers. Each will predominantly feature a unique phone number. Collectively, these advertisements are referred to as instances of SCP-1456-1. Instances of SCP-1456-1 appear spontaneously with no discernible external source. Billboards and print examples appear while the medium is unobserved, affecting sets of billboards owned by the same organizations and full runs of local newspapers and periodicals simultaneously. Radio and television instances appear to replace regularly scheduled, legitimate advertisements. In either case, no discrepancies have been noted by the owners or operators of the transmission medium. Calling the number provided by SCP-1456-1 with a local phone number that has not yet been used to call in will result in a win or lose result. Lose results are a simple tone, commonly described as harsh or grating, played 3 times before disconnection. A win result is a chime sound followed by a male voice announcing "You've won." Attempting to call in multiple times with the same number will result in a continuous and increasingly loud instance of the lose sound, escalating with no known upper limit until the phone is disconnected. 3 days after a successful win result, a prize loosely consistent with the advertised prize will be delivered to the winner, defined as the owner of the phone number used to make the winning call. The prize appears at the residence of the winner through varying means depending on the contents, by methods both mundane and anomalous. Sample prize instances. For a full list of recovered prize instances, refer to Document 1456-A. Instance 0054. Advertised prize, $500 cash prize. Delivery mechanism. A homeless local deposited the prize on the doorstep of residence. When questioned, he could not recall the event. Delivered prize, $500 in assorted bills and small change in a blank envelope. Instance 0143. Advertised prize, non-specific cash prize. Delivery mechanism. Prize spontaneously manifested traveling at speed through the front window of the residence. Prize was contained inside plastic bag along with a brick. Delivered prize, a stolen wallet belonging to a local resident. Instance 0567. Advertised prize, trip to Rome. Delivery mechanism. A taxi was waiting at the curb the morning of delivery. Driver identified as a local resident, but could not provide records or reason for arrival. Delivered prize. The driver presented agent with a one-way ticket on air to Rome leaving the JFK airport in New York. Driver refused to drive agent to the airport and would not leave until paid. Instance 0985. Advertised prize, sports car. Delivery mechanism. A truck belonging to an unidentified towing service delivered prize. Truck vanished upon leaving observed area. Analysis of footage indicates that the truck corresponds to no known make. Delivered prize, Nissan 350Z, heavily damaged in an apparent crash. 2 bodies located inside. Identified remains and license plate linked with automobile accident in Germany 2 days prior. Instance 1121. Advertised prize, a Caribbean cruise. Delivery mechanism, spontaneous appearance 50 meters above ground level. Delivered prize, roughly 900 kiloliters of seawater, a small yacht, and several hundred instances of marine fauna. Item number SCP-1877. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. Due to the impossibility of transport, each instance of SCP-1877 is contained in situ at the subject's original point. When practicable, the Foundation shall secure ownership of the origin point, soundproof the subject's living quarters, and install inward-facing locks in any interior doorways adjacent to the subject. Foundation medical staff are to review subject's condition on a 48-hour cycle, measuring any visible extracorporeal intestine. Any intestinal retraction of over 10 mm in a single 48-hour period is to be immediately reported to Research Director. Any publicly accessible infrastructure containing any length of extracorporeal intestine is to be rotated out of service if practicable, or serviced only by Foundation-approved personnel if impractical. Endoscopic discovery of any additional extracorporeal intestine is to be reported immediately to the Research Director. Description: SCP-1877 is an anomalous gastrointestinal disorder affecting a number of geographically disparate individuals, designated SCP-1877-01 through SCP-1877-03. In addition to their abnormally long and continuous gastrointestinal tract, subjects exhibit severe neuropsychiatric symptoms, including left hemispatial neglect and mild dysphagia. While subject's immobility renders most medical imaging impractical, preliminary EEG results demonstrate unusually high levels of electrical activity in patients' right parietal lobes. To date, over 30 kilometers of continuous intestine have been endoscopically mapped. Subject's intestinal tracts have been observed to intersect with numerous man-made artifacts, including pilot lights, electrical conduits, light bulb sockets, telephone receivers, water mains, sewage pipes, and subway tunnels. 31 hours after entering SCP-1877-01's digestive tract, objects which have entered that tract can be observed passing through SCP-1877-02's entry stoma and exiting 30 minutes thereafter. Presumably they then travel to SCP-1877-03 and are passed to additional individuals or excreted. Mapped portions of the SCP-1877 gastrointestinal network consist of the following. 4 cm beyond the pyloric valve, SCP-1877-01's duodenum turns outward through a painless stoma in its abdominal wall, extends across subject's living room, and enters a light fixture located in the ceiling of his apartment. Architectural and endoscopic investigation of its gastrointestinal tract seems to indicate that it then descends through the wall of his apartment, enters a water line, diverts into the Washington, D.C. metro system, and then takes a sharp southward turn, which renders endoscopy impracticable without severe injury to the patient. The subject's gastrointestinal tract then resumes in Busan, Korea, exiting through a pilot light in SCP-1877-2's oven, traversing the kitchen and bathroom, and entering through a painless stoma in the second subject's abdominal wall. After 1.4 meters of superficially normal small intestine, a second length of jejunum exits through a second stoma in the interior abdominal wall, descends into the subject's bathroom sink, and passes 3.7 km through the Busan sewer system. Endoscopic investigation demonstrated that SCP-1877-02's upper digestive tract is no longer continuous with the lower digestive tract now occupying his body. A third individual, designated SCP-1877-03, is presumed to exist but has not been found. Presuming that the southward bearing of SCP-1877-02's small intestine is continuous, the uncontained third subject is hypothesized to live somewhere within 30 km of Adelaide, Australia. At present, subject's condition is unstable. Beginning in 2007, both known subjects' extracorporeal intestines began to retract into architectural features of their apartments. At recovery, SCP-1877-01 presented with 24 meters of slack extracorporeal intestine, permitted him limited mobility within his quarters. At present, SCP-1877-01 only possesses 8 meters of taut extracorporeal intestine, confining him to a single room of his apartment. SCP-1877-02's retraction has been less severe. At recovery, subject presented with 41 meters of slack intestine. Post-recovery retraction had reduced his intestinal slack to 34 meters. Addendum: on December 5, 2012, a Foundation recovery team entered an apartment in Adelaide, hypothesized to be the origin point of SCP-1877-03. No anomalous features were detected, however a handwritten letter was found in the apartment's dishwasher. That letter is transcribed below. Dear General Electric, I have long appreciated your products, but now I draw close to the socket and there are questions. For instance, what is the problem? I think the problem is that there is a bad disease. My stomach hurts. And I own a General Electric dishwasher, model PD968-DPBB, and it does not even help me. Everything growls and boils and whips. There is a stink. I have called my cousin in America and told him that there were difficulties with sickness. He told me to call you because you are where the problems come from, that there is an electrical wave which comes from my dishwasher and goes to my guts. Also, what will happen? The problem is now very bad. I have to stand so close to your socket that I can hear the electrical wave. Like whale song, I will have to go in soon. My guts will make me. I know that General Electric cannot make it stop, but there needs to be an answer to the mystery of the appliances. The answer should come in the manual which goes with the socket, so that there is less anxiety when we all have to go into our appliances and live in the guts of the earth, as all of us someday shall do. Tomorrow I think I will have to go in. When it ends, will I live alone in the names of appliances? How does one traverse the guts of the earth so that there is no problem? Is this a sickness that shoots an electrical wave from all dishwashers or just mine? Please call me tomorrow, General Electric. There will not be much time. I have so much anxiety. Thank you so much for all your products. Though the letter appears to have never been sent, a review of telephone logs indicates that a call was placed to the apartment's telephone from General Electric's headquarters in Fairfield, Connecticut. The precise origin point of that call, The subject matter of the conversation which followed, and the individual responsible are still undetermined as of. Item number SCP-636 Object Class Euclid Special Containment Procedures. The building containing SCP-636 has been officially condemned for supposed mold contamination, and the lot fenced off to prevent unwanted intrusion. A minimum of 2 armed undercover guards are to be posted at ground level, and any unauthorized individuals attempting to enter the building must be detained and questioned. Any experimentation on SCP-636 must only be performed with prior permission from at least 2 Level 3 personnel. Description: SCP-636 is a maintenance elevator at the hotel located at. Unlike the other elevators in the building, SCP-636 contains a magnetic card reader, which when used with a specific card key, will cause the elevator to move to a third sub-basement beneath the building. According to the building plan, there are only 2 sub-basements beneath the building, and the owner of the property was not aware of an elevator with magnetic card access. Whenever any individual attempts to access this floor via SCP-636, the elevator appears to work normally. However, upon reaching the non-existent floor, all contents of the elevator, including any personnel or remote monitoring equipment, will disappear. Exploration of the elevator shaft itself has yielded no useful information. While the shaft does extend to a third sub-basement level, there are only blank walls at that depth, and video cameras placed within the shaft have shown no unusual activity when the elevator reaches the bottom. Furthermore, SCP-636 will periodically move to the third sub-basement level on its own. Upon its return to the ground floor, the elevator car has occasionally contained anomalous objects as documented below. SCP-636 came to the Foundation's attention on 2000, following the disappearance of 2 elevator mechanics during routine maintenance of the building's elevator systems. A 2-man initial exploration team was sent into SCP-636 and subsequently lost, after which the site was placed on lockdown and the owner and all witnesses given Class A amnesiacs. Current containment procedures were put into effect shortly afterward. Addendum 636-01 Log of Notable Anomalous Events. Date: 2000. Description: SCP-636 called the bottom floor for approximately 6 minutes before returning to ground floor. Upon its return, the fully disassembled parts of 2 helmet-mounted video cameras were found on the floor of the elevator car. Analysis of the components confirmed that they belonged to the members of the initial exploration team. Memory cards and recording media of the cameras were blank. Date: 2000. Description: SCP-636 called for approximately 2 minutes before returning to ground floor. According to the testimony of the armed guards stationed at ground floor, the walls of the elevator car were covered with hundreds of human eyeballs that tracked them for several seconds before the doors closed, and the elevator recalled to the bottom floor again. Elevator car was found empty afterward. Date: 2000. Description: SCP-636 returned after 4 minutes and 17 seconds, and contained approximately 11 kilograms of shredded Egyptian cotton fabric soaked with blood. Analysis of the blood samples are inconclusive, as recovered DNA does not seem to match that of any known terrestrial animal. Date: 2006. SCP-636 returned after 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Upon opening, a naked and emaciated male, later identified as agent of the initial exploration team, began pounding on the buttons and screaming that he had to go back. Agent managed to disarm and kill one guard and injure the other before running back into SCP-636 and disappearing.